I grew up in California, but moved to North Carolina around the time that I was 13 after my parents split up again. Growing up, they taught me about God, but it wasn't really modeled for me in my home life. My parents were both addicts at different times throughout my life, and because of that, there was a lot of scary circumstances and dysfunctional relationships. My mom did try to shield us from that when we were younger. She was a really great mom, but eventually she kind of crumbled under the pressure, and she just had a hard time. I wanted to be in control of my own life, and I went out and proceeded to make my own choices and sort of look for meaning in all the wrong places. When I was around 26, I met Daniel, and a few years later we got married, and we got pregnant right away with Blake. And I was very happy to have him and another chance at being a mom, but I was really afraid of losing him and of the pain of losing another child. I did watch him like a hawk day and night. I wouldn't let anyone else care for him, not even Daniel very much. Everything felt sort of like life or death. When I laid him down in his crib at night, it felt like I was laying him down like to die. And when I left him somewhere, I felt like it was the last goodbye. Around the same time, I started to have a really strong desire to be in the Word, and I sort of started to pour out my fears to God and tell Him what I was feeling. And the Bible began to speak to me in a way that it really hadn't before. And I felt some things in me start to change. I still felt afraid to trust Him completely, especially with Blake. I felt like maybe He would take Blake from me as some sort of punishment for wrong living or for a wrong choice. I was also involved in this Bible study that was really speaking to my heart at my grandma's house. And one night in the car, I sort of just gave in to Him and gave it all over to Him, or sort of began the process of trying to give it over to Him. And from that moment on, the one thing that I could feel was hope. Around this time, Daniel and I started to struggle in our marriage, and Daniel wasn't very enthusiastic about my faith to begin with, and I stood in God's way a lot. I really had a desire for him to know the Lord and to experience God's peace. And at the same time, I still struggled to let go of my fear and control issues, which sort of got in the way of our communication. Through counseling, I was able to learn how to sort of honor God by honoring Daniel unconditionally. And through that, I learned a lot about how God loves me and how to really trust Him and in His goodness and sovereignty. And that enabled me to love others better and to love my children better. Earlier this year, Daniel became a believer, and it's been a miraculous transformation, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I was just so touched, and I would just cry and whisper thank you to the Lord over the weeks and months. I'm so thankful that God brought us together and that He blessed us with Blake and Jack and Thomas. I just know that Jesus set me free and that I'm not defined by my past. I don't spend time anymore feeling ashamed and wondering why things happened as they did, but now I know how I can look back and sort of see clearly now how the things that happened to bring me right to where I was supposed to be, to bring me right to Him, and now it's all for His glory. I'm comforted because I know that He's always going to meet me where I am, and He's going to graciously show me the way no matter the circumstances.